Well, welcome back, everybody. We are going to work on a special request that we had from last week from That's a Good Question Thursday. A couple people were wondering, Steve, how do I work on a hard-to-catch horse? How do I get him more interested in me? How do I get him to where I can get him to be caught better? So what we're going to do today, we're going to take a little yeller here. She's been turned out to pasture. Just grabbed her up and hosed her off. She looks like a complete woolly mammoth. Her nickname is Fuzzy, so it's very appropriate. She's about the wildest thing we have floating around right now. So we're going to use her as a demonstration. First thing you guys are going to want to do with these hard-to-catch horses is you got to get them curious about you. And you've got to set up some situation for success. So like today, what we're going to do is we're putting her in a round pen, and it kind of closes things off. You know, first thing, sometimes people say, well, Steve, this doesn't help me. I've got a 1-acre pasture, and you know, she's out there. I said, well, you've got to find a way to somehow close down the gap between you and them. So if you got a 1-acre pasture, you may need to, sit out there with a book for all day, or get a 4-wheeler, or get another saddle horse, or somehow to close the gap. Because if you just have too much terrain and your horse is hard to catch, they're just going to play games with you. Maybe you could spread out across a pasture with a group of people or things like that. And it's not that you're going to try to catch these horses. I'm going to show you guys some things here with this filly here in just a second. But you're trying to set up a situation where she can learn to catch you. And I'm going to show you some different examples here, kind of briefly, and then we're going to move on from there. And hopefully when you guys are at home, you'll just have a few ideas. So obviously she's not some wild Mustang, but really from birth, she's coming to, I probably had 20 sessions with her, this horse. So, that's like once a month she's been worked. So I worked her 3 or 4 times as a weanling, and then worked her, a couple times one other month, and a couple times another month. So, up here she's almost coming to, so it averages out about once a month. And she's learning. So what a lot of people do, I think, like they want to fix the catch, but really what it is, it's a lot of in the turn loose goes wrong, and it's how they're kind of approaching the situation. So like when they go to turn their horse loose, they let that horse just turn away from them. Like say they turn them like that, and then she just walks off. So that's the last thing she's left with. Maybe they've overworked the horse and they didn't finish very well on a great note. So the horse is just like, I don't want to be caught anymore. Maybe the saddle doesn't fit good. Maybe they just don't feel good while they're being worked. So horse starts to get a negative connotation going about certain things. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to set her up for a leave, and then just see where things go. So I'm just going to step away, and notice here right away, it affects her feet. I haven't moved since I turned her loose, but she all of a sudden is kind of drawn. Now this may not last, but notice as I leave, she's kind of thinking about me. And then I might walk off this other way here. And you might say, well, Steve, again, this is not helping me. I says, well, she's about the youngest, wildest thing I have out here. It's unfortunate that I've worked with her, say about 20 sessions, but I'm just showing you some basic pieces here. But this is what you could have going on with a halter. When you have a halter on your horse, they should draw and turn just like this without having to pull on them. But a lot of people don't expect that. They expect to maybe pull on this horse quite a bit, or they let that horse look around and ignore them and things like that. So she kind of thinks this is still attached, so I'm going to have to send her away here in a minute. But again, this, I cannot stress this enough for those of you watching. You're probably like, Steve, you don't understand. And what I'm going to tell you is, like, what you guys don't understand is there's a lot of times where you're just messing your horses up. It's not intentional, and I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, like, this horse literally has like 20 sessions on her. She has been sitting out in pasture with other horses for at least 3 or 4 months without, like, I on occasion will walk past her fixing fence or something and just pet her real quick. But she has been unhandled for months, just sitting. Just literally, the hay is being thrown over the fence by a tractor. She is untouched. This is her first session here, and we haven't done any warm-up with her other than hosing her off. You can tell she's all scraggly. She hasn't been in a barn. She's just, she's rough. All right, so, but what I'm trying to say is if you do your sessions right, you're going to get into these minds of these horses, and they should just come out like this after a couple months off. All right, so we're going to go ahead and send her off here and just see what she does. So here I'm going to pick up my stick. I'm going to start driving her a little bit. And she says, I don't know if I want to go. I don't know if I want to go. So these are some things that you guys will look for out of your horses on your lead ropes and when they're loose. But this is maybe opposite of what some of you might have. You might already have like their hip and their hind feet to you, and they're just leaving. Her first thing is well, maybe I should get my head back on you. Okay, so these are some simple things, because if you had something like this working for you, and I'll show people how to do this in my program, if you have things like this working for you, your horses would be easy to catch, because if they got hard to catch, you could say come around here towards her hip and draw her eye. But let's think about how sometimes people might lunge their horses. They would just center off in a circle. Where's most people's horses' head when they go to lunge them? The head's normally where? It's pointed to the outside. And if you have never noticed that, just watch the next 10 horses that you know lunged in an arena. And I don't care what discipline, what part of the country, where you're at. If you see 10 horses lunged in the next couple weeks, I want you to know that, and I'll run a bet on this, probably 90% of them at least have their head to the outside of the circle. It's not a criticism, just something I want you to notice. These horses spend a lot of time not focused on their handler as a warm-up. So you might say, well, Steve, this horse keeps looking at you. I says, I know. In those 20 sessions, I've encouraged her to do that. Okay, so she looks for it, because when she does, guess what she gets to do when she does that? That. Which I call it nothing, but it's a reward. It's a release of pressure. It's a zero pressure. Now, even there, see how she's looking off? I might just come over here and say, are you sure? And she says, oh, actually, you're right. I'm going to come here, but there's some cattle just walked up over there, and she's looking at them. And so they're distracting her. So this is perfect. See, she's distracted. Let's see what she does here. I'm gonna offer. You see how that automatically gets to her feet? Instead of just run off, and then she licks her lips. You see? So I put a little pressure on her, and immediately affects her feet. She disengages, she turns, and then she licks and chews. She's not done looking at the cattle, but she immediately, with pressure, she tuned in. And this is so important for people. A lot of people, they're so worried about pressure. Like, I don't want to put pressure on my horse. Steve, I don't want to put pressure on my horse. As soon as pressure comes out, their horses leave. Because they're not putting pressure on them. They don't understand what pressure is. Okay, how to use it. People are like, I don't want to put pressure. It's like, the horse's entire world, his entire life is pressure. So you should teach him how to deal with it, how to handle it, how to focus through it, how to find the answers under pressure. 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 See how she almost trots to me when the more pressure I put. See, she's drawn to that. Because I've encouraged her to be that way. I'm not letting her push on me, but when there's pressure, she says, I better listen up. Now, how many of you maybe have horses that, if that something like that happened, they're just gone? Older horses, younger horses, like pressure, they're gone. Well, you haven't taught them. You just haven't taught them. I can show you how to do that. And again, like, this is a shaggy, fuzzy, neglected animal here, and in 20 sessions or so, over 2 years, she's learned this. Okay, and again, this is cold turkey. People say, Steve, why don't you work horses that you just don't work? I go, this thing has been sitting doing nothing. Okay, but this resembles a lot of her last session. That's what it resembles. Now, she hasn't left me yet, and when I say a lot of the catching issues is you're leaving, this is what I mean, is how many of you spend time at the end of the day turning your horse loose and letting them follow you around? For those of you that can't catch your horses, you probably say, you know what? I don't. Okay? Maybe when you step off your horse follows you a little bit. Maybe. Okay? But do you actually put conscious time in it with the last thing that she remembers is staying with you? All right? And you might say, well, Steve, but she's in a 5-acre pasture. She's going to run off. I says, well, at the end of the day, turn her loose in a small pen. Buy some panels, rope it off, whatever you got to do. Get some old pallets. I don't know what you got to do to make your 20-foot, 40-foot space. So at the end of the day, she can follow you around for a little while, and then turn her out into the 5-acre pasture, or whatever you got to do. Some people, they're not very creative. They have an excuse like, but Steve, you don't understand. I says, well, then find an option, okay? Make it work. And it doesn't necessarily cost a lot of money to have a decent place to work your horse, all right? So she's pretty well hooked on here, so let's go ahead and send her off here. I'm going to build and build. Pretty soon she's going to leave. There she goes. Finally. Okay, so I'm going to put a little heat on her here. There she goes. See? She's a wild horse. Right there. Wild horse. Okay, so I'm going to drive her on. Running around. Running around. So first thing I'm going to do, and this is important, I don't try to get things done with horses, meaning like if she's hard to catch right now, I'm not going to try to catch her. But what I might do is, if you notice her lead, she's off on her lead. There she just switched. You probably couldn't see it on the camera there, but now she's on the right lead. She was off behind in her hind lead. So instead of trying to catch her, I might just push her until she fixes her lead. You might say, well, Steve, I'm working on catching. I says, well, work on something else. And then when she gets it, reward her by catching her. Okay? And I did that with her when she was just a little whippersnapper. She still is a whippersnapper. Even smaller. She's just a weanling. Her mom was tied to the fence over here and missed her lead, so I drove her around. So I'm going to ask her to go. See, she's on the wrong lead front and behind now. But right away, right there, you probably missed again, but she switched on the backside to her right lead. So I'm going to drive her around here a little bit. You can see. Then I'm just going to take the pressure off. There, she says, oh, well, you're not chasing me anymore. Okay, now, some of your horses might not turn and face there. Okay, and that's fine. There's some things we can do to adjust for that, but notice I drive her until she does something beneficial, then I take the pressure off, and then I reward her. I might have to, if she's over here, I might have to walk all the way over there and pet on her for a little bit, try to encourage her, but really what I'm going to do to catch these horses is I'm going to drive these hind feet over. She kind of missed there. I'm going to come around here. We're looking for this right hind. She's trying to help. She's doing an exercise that we call four corners, and we'll do that a little later, but I just want this right hind to step up underneath her right there, right there, right there, right there, right there. What she's wanting to do is this exercise, where we move the front feet here around the hind. Good. Good. All right, and I might drive her up here. Good. These horses, they can learn a lot and pretty quick. I know a lot of people out there like, oh, I don't want to work a young horse, it's so stressful and stuff. It's like, well, this is just a few sessions, and we got pretty decent control of this little horse. Hind feet, here we go, front feet. Ask her to pivot around. Some days she might know how to spin or something, but I haven't even rode her yet. She already knows how to pivot around here on her own. Again, this is just quiet, quick little session. See how relaxed she gets there too. When I do it, it relaxes her. So these stressful maneuvers that she's going to have to do later, like, look how she relates to them already. She's like, oh my gosh, Steve, that was so stressful. I had to spin without a rider, without a bridle. This is so hard on me. So she goes ahead and lowers her head and neck. She licks and chews. She comes up here. She's not pushy, but she's curious. Like, that's how she's relating to these supposedly later on maybe stressful exercises. But if that's how she relates to it, why would she not want to turn? In this case, we're talking about why would she not want to be caught? Okay, why would she not want to be caught? So we got pretty lucky going to the right. So we're going to send her off here to the left. So I'm just going to offer her here. Again, if she wants to stick around, I'm not going to just push her off right away. She's trying to hang in here, so I'm going to go ahead and drive a little. So I like that. She kind of sticking around at a trot a little bit. So then I might just quit, so I'll drive her hip a little and quit. This is something I might want to have later. And that's a big part of the catching is, or really anything. Are there things that happen with your horse that you recognize, you're like, hey, that I might want that. Pause for that. You might be working on something totally different. I mean, unless you're like right in the middle of really trying to get something. If you're just kind of offering general movement and she offers up something cool, great. Like right there, I was starting to offer her to go, but she was wanting to stick around, and I hadn't like said, you gotta go. She can make that choice, and then I'll encourage her to be that way. So here I'm gonna offer again, block this front end, drive her a little bit, offer some speed here. Good, even better, she's just a little closer, Nice, and I'll just take that pressure off of her there. See. All right. I promise for this next one, we're going to go out to the desert. We're going to find a completely wild Mustang, and we'll refilm this video for you guys. But trust me, the first time I did this, she was hard to catch. You want to be with her mama. You want to be caught. Took a few sessions. Now see there, she's on the wrong lead behind. You can see she's on the right lead behind. So what I would do here is I'd drive her a little. and encourage her, drive her a little, just make this a little difficult on her. There, right there, she switched her lead. Hopefully you saw that. So then I'll take her pressure off. It says, when you travel balanced across this ground, I'll leave you be. So we're going to try that again. Pretty soon she'll understand about that. She'll be good about her leads. She won't miss them because she knows once she finds that lead that she'll get a reward. I'm going to drive her here. Drive her here. I'm going to drive her off. Let's go on. There her leads off again. Fine, so move her around. Put a little heat on her. Kind of missed it. I'm going to do it some more. There, right there. Same spot. So I'll drive her around so you can see her. Same spot, but see, she's ready now. And it's just a little fun thing we're doing. I'm working on her leads really, but she's going to say, you know what, I'd rather be taught. All right, so I'll draw back here and let her in. And you see here, and this is what I like about this, because I'm not coercing her, because I'm not begging her and cornering her and making her and all this stuff. Watch here. I just barely lift and she goes to work. She says, Steve, what can I do for you? What can we do together? And that's what's so cool about these things, if you do them right, is you will build a horse that has desire, that wants to try. You know, some of you, you're on here looking at this and you're like, well, Steve, you just don't understand about my horse and this, that, and the other. I said, what's wrong with a lot of your horses, if you're having troubles with them, is they just don't care. They don't want to work for you. They don't want to try for you. They have certain things they like to do, but as soon as you ask them to do something else, they're like, whatever, you know, I'm out of here. I'm not going to pay attention. But if you can find a way, and I can show this to you, if you can find a way that your horse wants to reach for you, they want to try for you, they want to be more focused, and they want to be more trusting, they want to be more understanding, then it's so easy to conquer any of these other issues that you have, because half of them will just fade away because they have a good mindset. But the ones that don't, the ones that are ingrained, and maybe through muscle memory or through just things that have happened in the past, maybe they had a bad trailering incident or different things, you can help work with that horse through these exercises to mentally get them to desire to want to do those things that they don't want to do. So this is just an example here, how she's just trying. So imagine this horse hasn't been worked in a couple months. All right, let's say I end this session right now, so I'm going to send her here. I'm going to now push her hip more, and I'm going to open up, and I'm going to push her shoulder more here. Okay, we'll wait till she softens and relaxes. Notice how she's trying to pivot and be quiet, be soft and be relaxed. Imagine if I quit now. What if I quit now? She doesn't see me for another couple of months, and this is the last thing she remembers. Is she going to be hard to catch? Is she going to be hard to move? Is she going to be hard to motivate? Is she going to maybe even have her leads better? Maybe she'll go practice without me. But we've built some things here. We've got her soft, we've got her curious, we've got her wanting, but she's not pushy, she's not spoiled, she's not disrespectful, she's not leaning on me, she's not being, disrespectful and telling me what to do and things. She's really developing into a nice horse. And how long did this take? This didn't take long. We probably been filming, 10, 15, 20 minutes? It's not long. But 10, 15, 20 minutes, and people tell me, well, Steve, you should understand, Steve, I don't have the time. Like, this takes no time. I haven't touched this horse in months, okay? This is 20 minutes, man. We'll call it 20 minutes, okay? That's no time. If you don't have 20 minutes in 2 months, okay, probably need to just go out and buy yourself a little hamster or goldfish or something, because you don't have time for horses. Like, just get a calendar, put it on your fridge, and call that your horse exposure, okay? Get rid of the horses in your backyard, give them to somebody who has time. But if you got horses, you can find 20 minutes in 2 months, guess what you can build? You can build this, okay? Someday we'll be able to ride this. Like, she's not big enough to ride yet, okay? But pretty soon she might be. And when she is, she'll already have a lot of these things. She'll circle, she'll bend, she'll soften, she'll lower her head, she'll back up and give and travel and pick up her leads and do pivots and turns and be sweet and nice, okay? Because that's all she knows from her groundwork. All right? Well, I hope this was some help for you. I know we didn't get too much in the nitty-gritty on things, but we're going to get into more detail on this stuff as we go on. But hopefully this was of some help for you guys. I sure like working with this one. She's nice and sweet and curious, and You guys will be seeing a lot more of her. So she's related to a couple of the other ones I got around here. And yes, look at the hair. My goodness, this is good stuff right here. All right, well, good luck with your horses. You guys be safe, have fun, and we'll catch you on the next video.